Why won't any of their allies take in refugees from
because I think
Gaza?
Well, King Abdullah from Jordan said that he doesn't want to do it because he sees it as kind of enabling Israel to take over Palestine.
That's such a great reason.
That's a great way to say that. I thought we wanted open borders everywhere. I thought that was the answer. I thought open
borders. No, just here in America only.
Just to destroy our country.
Okay, so now you're an American
citizen. You don't understand. As I have now said several times, when your neighborhood is like being rioted, you just leave your front door unlocked and then go defend someone else's house. That doesn't make sense.
I'm just genuinely curious why people are so fervent, why there's so much fervor over Israel-Palestine.
I know. I couldn't tell you. As a Jew, I don't want to see my fellow Jew die, and I think it's sick. I thought after the Hamas attacks, all the carnage that was left, the pictures that you saw on Twitter, like I was telling you before the show, you're seeing nothing but graphic footage all around Twitter. The carnage that was left behind by Hamas is despicable. And the consequence for that should be they should be killed. But it, again, should be just them that are killed, not innocent kids.
I suppose the challenge is like Israel's choices after being attacked are airstrikes on strategic targets, which results in a lot of collateral damage and dead civilians, and that's horrifying, or invasion. I don't know. Pick one. Me, I'm kind of just like, I don't know. I'm not Israel, and I'm not in this war, and the United States is partially, I suppose, tangentially involved in this war. And I think we shouldn't be because it's an unsolvable issue. I just think if you've got
I just miss Trump on this.
I mean, sure. I mean, but if you've got 51% of Gaza saying they support Hamas, and even in the United States, these people are chanting from the river to the sea, peace is not an option. I mean, peace is the preferred outcome, but it's not an option when you have one side saying from the river to the sea.
Yeah, but the majority of those folks, at least I like to think, are not going to go out and actually plant a bomb. Like, I think that justifying any war on Gaza because those folks are so critical against Israel, that doesn't justify killing them.
That's not it. That's Hamas using schools and hospitals to store weapons and to launch rockets, and then attacking Israeli civilians because, as that Yale professor said, settlers aren't civilians. So to the people, to 51% of people in Gaza, let's just say 51% supporting Hamas, anyone, some of those people were tourists. Fair game, kill them all. That's what they're doing. That's horrifying. Right. You're not going to get peace in Israel with Israel and Palestine if that is the view of 1 million people in the Gaza Strip.
Right. Yeah. And
what is Israel's plan? Let me ask you, what do you think would happen if the barrier fencing around Gaza was completely removed and Israel just said anyone in Gaza can do whatever they want? They can freely travel.
Well, I mean, that kind of exists now. They're able to go back and forth for jobs.
No. I'm saying the barrier. What would happen if the barrier was completely removed? Security around the Gaza Strip was removed, and Israel said to all of the people, you can freely move about all of Israel. What would happen?
I'm sure there would probably be conflict going both ways.
Both ways?
Yes, both ways, because I've seen Hamas and Palestinians.
You think Israelis in like Tel Aviv will march into Gaza with guns, start killing civilians?
I think violence will be conducted either way. I think that I've seen IDF soldiers treating Palestinian kids very badly on the streets, and sometimes they brag about, doing brutal things to them. I think it would go both ways, regardless of the situation.
So if the fences were removed, Israelis would go into Gaza.
I'm not saying just Israelis. I said
no. I know both ways. That means the implied is Palestinian civilians will go into Israeli settlements and start killing people. But you also think Israeli civilians will go into Gaza and start killing people.
I didn't say that. I just think that the conflict would go both ways. I don't think it would be good for anyone.
But what does that mean both ways?
I think that terror or any act of violence would be carried out both ways by both parties involved.
But I don't know what that means. Like, you think the people in the Gaza Strip, would they leave the Gaza Strip? If the barrier is removed and security is removed and they say you can freely move about
I don't think a lot of them would.
They would just stay there.
I mean, I'm sure there would be some tension for sure, but I don't think a lot of them would leave the homes.
You think the people in Gaza would just stay there? So it's not an open air prison.
Well, if you're saying that Palestinians now can't go to Israel, they can. I mean, and I don't think a barrier makes much of a difference if you can get through to it to go to your job from 9 to 5.
So so it's not an open air prison, and the complaints of the Palestinians are just exaggerations?
Well, I think that the land conflict is a whole nother topic. I mean, what belongs to who, that's just a whole nother can of worms I don't want to get into. But I don't think a barrier there is what's stopping any specific thing. I think people are able to go free and easy
Right.
regardless.
So the issue, I suppose, is leftists are calling it an open air prison where people are trapped and stripped of resources.
Well, in a way they are, and that's another war crime you mentioned because...
So it's a war crime that they're trapped in there.
Well, it's a war crime what's happening now where electricity, water, food, and aid is being cut
But they
off.
can just leave.
But that's a war crime.
No. It's not if they can just leave, right?